Huh, you know, maybe we should take off. Doesn't look like anything's going on
Oh,
here.
Morty, no, we have to help people.
Oh my god, it's one of those facehuggers from the Alien movie! Holy crap, I think it's dead!
God, Morty, you died of toxicity due to all the drugs and alcohol swirling about in my system.
Wow, Rick, you know, they say don't do drugs, but I think this might be a case for him.
And alcohol, Morty.
Yeah, and alcohol.
Somebody get a memo to all the characters in those Alien movies, stat.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, I never thought I'd say this, but thank God you drink all those drugs and alcohol, you know?
Morty, you don't drink drugs.
Well, whatever, I don't know, I'm innocent.
Hey guys, guess what movie I just saw? Alien Covenant was a long-anticipated sci-fi horror movie directed by Ridley Scott. It was prequel to the classic Alien franchise, and it was a sequel to the Prometheus. Now, I'm one of the few people who really loved Prometheus and think that it is a very underrated horror classic. There's a lot of thought-provoking moments, and it is generally very intellectually challenging. But for the most people, they were anticipating an Alien prequel, and you don't get a lot of xenomorph, and there's not a lot of action. It moves at a very slow pace, so people were disappointed and even frustrated. So, as I can see from Alien Covenant, they were trying to appeal to these people, and they were going back to the route of sci-fi horror with more gore and somewhat more action. First of all, right out of the back, the cinematography is A+. All the shots in the movie are grand and beautiful. I also like the color scheme. It has a gray and dark tone that brings a sense of paranoia, depression, and anxiety, which fits the mood of the movie perfectly. Ridley Scott is the kind of director that is obsessed with in-camera work. By in-camera, I mean things that are not CGI. Nowadays, whenever a sci-fi movie is made, people would turn on CGI. However, this makes it hard for the crew and the actors to work with, because without anything real on screen, people has to use their imagination, which leads to an undesiring effect. As you can see from this production video, Ridley Scott really loves to use practical effects. There are CGI, inevitably, but it was kept to a minimum. I'll say around 10% of it are actually CGI, and when the CGI are used, it all seems real. Speaking of which, the creature effect is also amazing. The design of the new xenomorph, the neomorph, is fantastic. I like it better than the xenomorph himself. It has a human skin. It is disgusting and creepy at the same time. At this stage, I wanted to say the gore was fantastic. They savored every single little details. Not only are there a lot of blood, but they savored every single gory detail. From each kills to the transformation, nothing is lost. The actings in the film, especially from Michael Fassbender, is pretty good. Michael Fassbender is my favorite actor of the decade. Everything he does it with passion. And in this film, he played the dual role David and Walter. David is from the previous Prometheus movie, and Walter is a new android that has exact likeness to David because they were both made by Wayland Company. It was an interesting concept to see both of them interact in the same screen. Both has so much similarities, yet they were so vastly different in terms of personality and the way they approach things. Everything Michael Fassbender said, especially from David, is impressive. Especially his interaction with other crew member. It's very smart and mesmerizing. I love every scene he's in, and Michael Fassbender, you're better than ever, man. Speaking of acting, now I'm getting to the cons of this movie. Most of the cast was very well acted, but very disposable and in a very cliched manner. You can always tell when they're gonna die. Like they're going for a smoke, have sex in the shower, and just wandering out alone in the wilderness. You can see them coming from a mile away. But there is one scene the way they built up suspense to that scene was absolutely amazing. The other thing I found kind of disappointing was the editing of the movie. There were some scenes, most of the time it was very well shot, like 80% of the time. But when it comes to the action scene and when Xenomorph attack, especially in the first two acts, the editing kind of getting very choppy, and there's a lot of shaky cams, and there was a lot of there's a lot of very random cuts that you cannot tell what actors are doing. It's kind of like the movies Resident Evil and Taken 2. They are not as bad as them, but they were pretty bad.
You're breaking up!
One other thing I was afraid before going to the movie that was actually convinced my fear was the film give away the answer right away. In Prometheus, there was a lot of questions that are not being answered and open to possibilities, not just for making sequels, but you can provide your own explanations. But in this film, they straight up give you answers to everything that you need to know. The sense of mysticism from the previous movie is completely gone, and I'm kind of sad. Overall, Alien Covenant is a really, really good movie, and I have a fun time watching it. I would watch it again anytime, but unfortunately, it's not as good as Prometheus in my opinion, and definitely not as good as Alien and Aliens. It has its flaws, but you will have a really fun time. And although it's not as intellectually challenging as Prometheus, it's still a very clever and effective movie. I would recommend it. I would give Alien Covenant a 7.5 face huggers out of 10. Now, I would have ended this video, but there's another movie I really want to talk about, and that is Life. It has a lot of similarities to Alien Covenant, but unfortunately, there's not that much to talk about. Because it doesn't offer anything new. There's not a lot of things that is unique with it. The premise of Life is about a group of scientists in the space station got a package from Mars. It's revealed to have a life form in it, but the life form keep on growing and has a murderous tendency. Sounds like the classic Alien in Space sci-fi horror film to me. But remember, back in the 70s, Alien has borrowed a lot of elements from movies such as them and It, the Terror from Beyond Space. However, the main difference is Alien borrowed these elements and made something new, while Life didn't. The first problem are the characters. You don't care about them. They try to make you care by offering a lot of backstories and a lot of monologue, but it only slows the plot down. I would rather know less about the character's background story than having a boring, dull personality. The death scenes in Life is also very cliched like in Alien Covenant, but unlike in Alien Covenant, which shows you the full gore and the details of those deaths, Life kind of drops the ball, and you can just see characters spewing blood, and that's about it. One of the horror cliche that's in this film way too much is when in a crisis situation, people were just yelling and screaming at each other.
What's going on?
No, you're not picture.
Goddamn it. What are we gonna do? There's a baby. Open the door.
There are some good things about it. The actors, they were very well acted. It's the script that's a little bit mishmashed. I like the design of the space station. It creates a sense of claustrophobia. The camera work was A+. Some of the action scenes were shot even better than Alien Covenant, but unfortunately that's the only thing that this film done better than Alien Covenant itself. The monster design I liked. I like how it's changed its form, even though it's still cliched. It's not as original and creepy as the Neomorph in Alien Covenant, but I still appreciate the work they did. I'm going to give Live 6 space station out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for your support. I've seen a lot of comments and feedbacks that helps me immensely with my video. So I really appreciate all your help and your viewings. It's really helping me with my videos. Next up, I'm planning to do a full spoiler review. A spoiler review on Logan, as much into as much detail as possible. It's gonna be a long video, and yes, spoiler warning. If you haven't seen Logan, I think most of you has done it because it's already out on it will be out on DVD next week. So if you haven't seen Logan and you don't want any spoilers, go watch the movie first and then come back to my video. But otherwise check it out. Okay, Alien Covenant, what do you think of it? Do you agree with my opinion? Do you have something to share? Please comment below. And if you like my video, please click subscribe or like, because if you think I'm good, you're pretty good too.